Jimmy Kimmel, everyone's aware. Everyone at ABC and Disney knows who's watching. They know the numbers better than we do. And all the advertisers know, too, that the phones aren't ringing by advertising on Jimmy Kimmel. They know this. So why is he making 20, 30, 40 million a year, whatever it is? Why? Because it's not about the money. It's about sending a message. He's there to be a vessel of propaganda. That's why. There's no marketplace of ideas for that. There's no one to bang on for that. It really would not matter if we all stopped watching. It really wouldn't. He'd just keep doing it. If anything, Jimmy Kimmel's largest audience is alternative media on the right, taking his clips for years and crap posting about them. Same thing with The View. The View will generate way more engagements and reactions from us than they can on their own. And that's pretty much true of all of their media outlets and all of their content. And there's no one to bang on in these realms. They don't care what you think. They hate you. Similar to, in the kingdom, well, I'm going to donate to the Billy Graham Crusade. I'm going to advertise on the Billy Graham Crusade. I don't really think people are going to call up, and buy Clorox bleach. Just the CEO here or whatever of Acme Company A just really loves Billy Graham and his message. So, this is an affinity buy. I'm donating I want a message out there. I want to be a good steward of the resources my God gave me, and I want his messengers to be elevated by the resources God gave me. Well, that's what Jimmy Kimmel is. His God is making sure, the God of this world, his God is making sure that his message gets out there. Ratings and numbers be damned. Because it's a shibboleth of the damned. That's the point. And when you get to this point, where there really are no market forces you can really corporately exert, you have to understand what time it is and where we are. The people putting him on the air and producing all these flops recently at Disney, they're not dumb, like we keep saying. They are well aware of what they are doing. They're nihilists. They're deconstructionists. They're iconoclasts. They're here to smash the stained glass windows. They're doing this on purpose. They want to inject what we call rotgut into the culture because it's doctrine to them. It's creedal to them. And when we reach this point of no return, we have the following two options, and we only have these two options. There isn't another option. There isn't a third way. There's no other option but these two. You will either A, use the pre-existing rules that we all inherited from our forefathers to punish them for their wickedness. What is the point of an FCC then if being able to threaten somebody's public license because you don't like what they're spewing into the ether, what is the point then? Then just stop funding. You can't on one hand be a senator that votes for budgets that funds the FCC and then on the other hand says, but we can't actually use it for what it was intended for. Choose one. Choose one. I don't really care which one it is. I can make either one of them work. Here's what I can't make work when we choose neither. When we're going to fund the FCC, but then say it cannot do what it was there to do. That I won't go with. We can't do that. Let me tell you what that is. That's this. And look at your children and grandchildren. Put that big fat L, moronic L, right there on your forehead, and then beg for their forgiveness preemptively for making them take it. So here are your choices. Either we will enforce the pre-established rules and use the power invested in us constitutionally, lawfully, at a statutory level by said pre-established rules to punish the evil, or then we will play by the left's new rules that they want to impose on us and have to then turn around and impose those on them. Now, for me personally, since the latter is very nihilistic, I would way more prefer the former. Because it was working out pretty well when we had more balls and character as a people than we currently do. I would much rather prefer to play by the righteous rules that includes avenging angels and swords of righteousness against evildoers than I would by adopting the nihilism of the other side. But here's what I will not do. What I will not do is join the convent of the Sisters of the Perpetually Furrowed Brow and Bishop Mike Pence and the magisterium of actually and self-emasculation so that we will then police on each other rules the other side is shredding to our ruin. That I will not do. And I don't care if we work together, if we were friends, I will condemn it. Because as much as I like you and care about you, my kids come first. And I'm not going to look at them with the big fat L on the forehead and try to explain to them why Daddy didn't do anything with the platform he had so they didn't have to take that L. That's not an option. So choose. Again, my preference way more is to follow the righteous rules because they come out of my worldview. Revealed to us by the only undefeated being in the history of the cosmos. So we either do what he says with those rules, which includes enforcing them, punishing people who deserve it, avenging innocent blood lawfully. We will either do that, or new voices will emerge, and they're already emerging, who will demand we start playing by the left's more nihilistic rules now. And boy, howdy, people are going to flood to their ranks and already are. But this idea that we're just going to sit here in this third way and emasculate ourselves, and we're going to hold ourselves to some hyper tradition and decorum, while the other side of this supposed e pluribus unum is out there just defiling itself and has demonstrated it's divorced itself from this covenant we think we're still supposedly in on a civic level. Not an option. That is just a defeat. You might be comfortable rhetorically with that. It might fit with where you prefer to be philosophically, but it is not where we actually are. We have to live in the world as it is, not in the world as we want it to be. We already have a movement in America that thinks they can conjure truth. We don't need to join them. So those are your options.